Hello, welcome to our call. For those of you that haven't been on the call before, we are doing Information for Transformation 2.0. We've been doing Information for Transformation on Wednesday nights for several years now, and we've decided to shift gears and I decided to bring in a healing heavyweight, my wife, Kerrie. So we are going to be doing these together and offering all kinds of information for you to help yourself and help your patients, help your family, your friends. So, our background, uh, I worked in the medical field for 13 years when I was younger in cardiopulmonary. I was a department head in a medical center when I was 25 years old. I was pretty gung ho, and I was living in LA. I met an old, it seemed old to me at the time, herbalist. Actually, I'm older now than he was then, I think. But he helped me realize that we're just chasing symptoms. We're not addressing the cause of why they have symptoms in the medical profession. And that just struck me right between the eyes. And it's like, duh, thank you. So eventually I let go of that trapeze and went for the holistic one and started studying multi-disciplines, natural healing, chiropractic, natural natural medicine, naturopathy, mind-body medicine, herbal medicine, diet, nutrition, craniosacral therapy. Um, we studied microscopy, um, all kind of photobiology, actually natural dentistry. We've studied a lot of disciplines. And so we have had a clinical practice for, I guess, 43 years. And during that time, we started treating a lot of what we call medical throwaways. These are people that were given death sentences by their medical doctors and sent home to die. And they'd hear about us, and we had a program. We put them on an intensive 16-hour-a-day program to rebuild their bodies. A lot of these people, we weren't sure if they were going to make it around the next corner or even to the corner. So we had to find what works and what doesn't work with these people. And that's where we really learned the most about healing is from these sick and dying people. So we had to undo a lot of what was done to them in the medical merry-go-round with the slash burn poison, all the radiation, all the surgeries and poison drugs and things. So we have to get them off all their pharmaceuticals, get their um, cholesterol back up where it should be, get them out in the sun, get them grounded, in touch with the earth, um, get them using more sea salt to get their minerals back up because their medical doctors had them afraid of all this. We had to get their copper up, get their iron down, just opposite of what the allopaths are doing in order for them to get healthy. Some people we had to go further. We had to have them um, get removed of mercury fillings from their teeth sometimes, root canal filled teeth, other dental horrors, silicone implants that were put in their bodies that were affecting them adversely. So we had to get all that out in order for the body to recover and be able to heal and rejuvenate. So now, back then we didn't have the tools that we have now, but then we didn't have a lot of the harmful uh, influences that we have now either. This is before cell phones and cell towers and all the microwave devices that we have now, the junk lighting, LED lights, um, compact fluorescence, all the stuff that people are using now that is harming them, down regulating their mitochondria in their cells that gives them the energy to heal and rejuvenate. So we had to, now we have these people doing infrared lighting, frequency medicine. Um, in our clinic, we don't have any Wi-Fi, any wireless devices. We don't have junk lighting. There's no LED lighting or fluorescent halogen lighting. We had to get these people off their microwave food, get them to stop using glyphosate, spraying Roundup all over, and get them off of margarine and other hydrogenated fats and the seed oils they were taking. Had to get them off fluoride, teach them correct way to do a blood pressure check on themselves, how to do balneal therapy or bathing therapy, get them on methylene blue, get them their copper up and their iron down, do metal detoxing, parasite cleansing, all kinds of stuff that's necessary. Once you do this, then the body's got the energy and the pathways are cleaned so the body can detox and then they can heal and get back on top of the wave. So it took us several decades to really learn how to do this um, most effectively and gracefully. So it's not torture to the patient. So we've learned a lot in this time. And tonight we're going to share some of these principles. We have decided to, people need a home healing sanctuary. We've got rooms in our homes for everything else almost. For feeding, for hygiene, for sleeping, for entertainment. We've got, you know, um, home theater rooms. We've got all kinds of stuff, but nothing for healing. So we're trying to encourage people to create a space in your home. It might not be a room by itself. Ideally, it would be, but you might just find a corner of a room or a nook or something that can to start to be a sacred place for you to undergo healing. And Kerrie is going to talk about some of that now. Go ahead.
Right. So that was a good intro. It's like it's always good to review and see the path that you've walked, keeps you moving forward in a good direction. Yeah, I know when we were discussing this the other day, we talked about a lot of the differences between now and 30-ish years ago or more. We didn't have the tools that we do now, but we don't have as many problems and toxicity and built up toxicity. We have one thing on top of another on top of another. So it's a little bit of, both. And again, like you mentioned, with working with people, that's where you learn the most. You have to interact with people and see what's working, what's not. How does this feel? What do you feel like? And we're talking mainly on the physical level because that's where we have to start. But there's so many other levels that we have to address, and we don't always discuss that, but it's always there. We have to talk about emotions because there's so many unprocessed emotions that people have that get stuffed in and come out later as physical problems. So when you start to unpack things it all kind of comes out. You've got the when you start the healing task, you really let the genie out of the bottle. But it is a good genie. The genie goes in and clears up all the garbage and all the crap. So that being said, we have to put emphasis on clearing these situations in the body, like Bobby mentioned, and putting in good things. So part of creating a home healing sanctuary, I mean, when we learned and worked with a lot of people, the whole house was a sanctuary. I mean, we had to do things in the kitchen that were specific. We had to do things in the bathroom that were specific cleansing. They had different rooms that were all for, eating. It was like one of the original early, our version of healing centers. And now we're moving into our version of med beds, whatever we think that is. But we realized that the people that we were working with, couldn't get well in the same environment they got sick in. That's why they reached out and we started to create healing protocols in a different environment. So the environment itself is very, very important. And most people can't leave their home or go out to do something other than local therapies or, going to see your practitioner, your chiropractor, your massage therapist, your primary doctor, your, guru, whatever, your acupuncturist. There's so many levels and there's so many good healers, but it gets mucked up in the system and it gets mucked up with protocol and billing codes, and people get reduced to just their appointment time or their billing code. So creating something at home is really putting the emphasis on the environment that you need, whoever, to heal. So you get to create the space that is comfortable for you to heal in. A lot of times traveling out to get healing is very stressful for people, especially if you're in pain or have disabilities or have to have other people take you places. So it's very, very difficult. So part of that is, I mean, you have to interact, but we can also do way more at home. If you're feeling off on any level, either from a serious condition or an acute condition, you need a place to go and do certain things. So part of that is creating your sanctuary. And Robert mentioned it's doesn't have to be a whole room. It could eventually move into a whole room and you can extend that to your house, but you really just need to start with finding a place that feels comfortable, that you feel like your nervous system can rest and reset, that you can get a big, your shoulders can come down. And this is so important to start that space. So you feel comfortable, you don't feel vulnerable or exposed. And then you start to create more sacredness within that. Is it, a part of your bedroom? Is it a chair? Is it, a part of the floor? Is it a recliner? Where is it? So you start to make it more, you nurture it, you fluff it up, you clear out the space, you clear out clutter, you clear out the psychic space, and you say, okay, well, now when I'm here, no cell phones, no scrolling, no texting, no interaction with any of that stuff. That's why you're there. It's like, when you're going to the toilet, you usually don't do that kind of stuff either. Or, you're cutting and chopping, you don't usually do that stuff. So it's the same kind of thing. It's like we do this here. Other
If you
times,
went to a clinic for therapy, you wouldn't be answering your phone, you wouldn't be interacting with people on that level.
hopefully they
So
aren't either.
you
You're
have
right.
to shut all that out and
Yeah,
give yourself that clear time.
yeah. So having that intention, this is, we're spending a little bit on just starting to develop this idea, giving you the concept in your head. I think as we move on in the future, we'll probably do a whole webinar on all of these little parts. And we've created a little guidebook that will walk you through this setup. But just for now, we want to give you the idea of creating the sacred space that you can go and heal. So once you're there and you've created a little space that you feel comfortable, um, warm, or cool, or however the temperature is, someplace that you can just now relax. Now we want to start doing something we call stacking modalities. So one, we have the space. Two, now we want to put things in that will help you heal while you're in that space. So whatever you're doing, whether you're just resting, breathing, meditating, whatever, we're going to start putting things in. So the very first
Let me talk
easy
about the
thing.
importance of environment first, because having things is one thing, but there's a protocol, a priority of what you want to, um, how you want to treat the body. So you address the invisible toxins first, the things that we can't see, hear, taste, touch, or smell, like the microwaves from Wi-Fi routers, from cell phones, from Bluetooth devices, Bluetooth hearing aids, earbuds, all of that stuff. It could
Apple
be
Watches.
wireless, yeah, fitness watches, all of those Bluetooth devices that are transmitting microwaves and down-regulating our body's mitochondrial function. So if you don't handle this, you can't really heal well because of the effects that this has on you. So we have to make sure the house, it, especially that room, ideally the whole house. We recommend people get rid of the wireless, go back to Ethernet cables. They're much faster than wireless and more secure, but you're not getting slammed with microwaves because this affects everyone in the whole house, whether it's one end or the other, upstairs, downstairs. It affects your pets, affects your plants. Every living thing in the house is affected by these devices. So you got to handle all that before you can really benefit from the other things we're going to share with you.
Yeah. So I think if you could just explain it one step further, I don't believe people know that the cell phones and the cell phone uh, frequencies are microwave. They don't
There,
understand that that's a microwave, and they understanding what a microwave oven is, that I think most people are smart enough to not want to put their head in one, or a pregnant woman would not want to be around one if it were leaking, which a lot of them are.
right.
So if you can
So
explain
the
a little bit that this thing that we're putting here, or that we're carrying in our bra, or putting in our pants pocket, or we put under our head, or keep by our bed at night to turn on for an alarm, or just these insane things. Can you please explain that this is a microwave?
right.
What that's
So microwaves are very fast oscillating frequencies. Um, they're measured in gigahertz, which are billions of cycles per second. So the carrier frequency of the microwave from the cell phones, 2.45 gigahertz on average, is the same frequency as the microwave oven that cooks your food, 2.45 gigahertz. Okay, so you wouldn't think of putting your head in the microwave or near it even for extended periods, but think nothing about holding a microwave transmitter, putting out the same frequency next to your brain for extended periods, or in your pocket, or in your bra, like Kerrie said.
or just live
And,
in front of your face. Just,
yeah.
you see you're scrolling like this and doing stuff for hours.
And then they say, well, I don't hold to my head, I use speaker, but you're holding it. And our body is like a high gain antenna. Those microwaves are traveling right up your arm as a waveguide, traveling through the the through your tissues in your body. And so it's putting your body in fight or flight mode, in sympathetic dominance. This is like the saber-toothed tiger jumping out in front of you, and all of a sudden you go from rest and digest mode, parasympathetic mode, to survival, fight or flight, which is sympathetic dominance. So when you're exposed to this stuff, it affects something in your brainstem called the paraventricular nucleus, which is the start of the sympathetic nervous system. So when you activate that survival mode, your heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, blood sugar goes up, muscle glycogen goes up, your pupils dilate, you're ready to fight or run to survive. Now, at the same time, things that you don't need for survival get downregulated or turned off, if you will. Those are controlled by the parasympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system. So that breaker trips. So the things that it controls, like digestion, elimination, immune function, and endocrine function, all your hormones, that all gets downregulated. So you never have a normal hormone panel. Your immune system is going to be downregulated, and you're not going to be able to fight off infections and common colds and things like that. So you, that all gets turned off. That breaker trips. Now you're exposed to all this stuff everywhere. You go in your car. The newer cars got Bluetooth. Some have um, internet. Um, what do you call them? The hotspots. Um, it's at the
Yeah.
store. It's at church. It's at school. It's everywhere. So it's in your house. So you're exposed to this stuff 24/7, and you're stuck in this fight or flight mode. So you're not going to digest very well. You're not going to eliminate very well. And you're not going to get the nutrition. You're not going to detox like you should. And you're just going to eventually start circling the drain.
Hmm.
So these things affect you profoundly, and people have no idea.
So when you heal, there's kind of two principles that we kind of stick to kind of make well, to really make it easy. One side is getting rid of things that are harmful and harming you, and the other side is adding things that are helpful and beneficial to your condition, problem, situation. So we're constantly working with both. And we find at first it's easier to kind of focus on getting rid of a lot of things, because that's really the best place to start. Give you a little
So abundant.
analogy. Yeah, give you a little analogy. If you walk home, or if you walk into your house and you've got water all over your floor, and you hear water running, and you go into your kitchen and there's water running and it's overflowing your drain, it's over your counter and it's filling on the floor, what's the first thing that you do? Hopefully you turn the water off, the situation, the problem, or get that stopped. Then you have to unplug the drain and then you start cleaning up the mess. So we don't want to just clean up the mess, we don't want to start mopping the floor when that's still running, right? We want to stop the problem. So there's where
Good
we're,
analogy. So it's like doing treatments in a toxic environment. You're not going to really benefit like you
yeah,
would in a clean environment.
we might mop up the water real quick, and make it look better and say, see, you're making progress, but then it's still spilling over and then and by morning it's going to be all filled up again. So
Because
if
you
we
haven't
shut
treated
that
the
water
cause.
off, yeah, shut that water off, then we can truly start to clean up the mess because that water is now going to create lots of other secondary or tertiary problems. So if we go closer to the source, to stop those things, then we can work back at support. So people want to take, oh, I need to take these supplements, I need my vitamins and minerals, or I need to get my neck adjusted. That's all great. But again, if we have factors that are affecting you, if you have a hammer and you keep hitting yourself in the head all day with a hammer while you're doing all these good things, that's still, you're not going to get well. So we really have to push this and we keep coming back to this and people don't want to hear it. We usually have one person that's aware in a situation, it's one person in the household, the husband or the wife or something, and then everybody else isn't. They're against them and they think they're crazy. And it's because they don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to go, oh yeah, this crap is really a problem and I have to change. I have to not be able to go on the internet and scroll at 2 in the morning or to watch my whatever. That stuff is what people have to deal with. And it's a problem. I'm not going to lie. That is the biggest problem in battle where we get one person growing in a relationship and learning and understanding this, the other one does not want to.
We
So a
see
lot
this all the time. And it's usually the person that has the health challenges, they've learned
of,
how the stuff affects them, and they're being challenged on changing their environment because people don't want to be inconvenienced, right? With having to plug an Ethernet cable in or whatever it is.
whatever it
So
is.
it's
Yeah.
difficult, especially with
So
young people.
yeah. So anyway, with older people too, it's like, we get it. People don't want to get rid of their habits, even like the cordless phones too. They're still around. Those are horrible. Anyway, aside from that, we're going to start to get rid of certain things, and you may not be able to get that Wi-Fi turned off in your house, but you can make your room, your space way better. And that's what we want to do. So we want to create the space that's free of constant noise, interference, interruptions, and you're not gonna do this all in a day. You got to start somewhere, and you may win the long battle. You may not. You might win the war. I don't like to use this expression, but you may lose that battle at first. But you're creating more of I mean, more than a physical space. You're creating a psychic space, and you're getting aligned with God in true healing. And I think that will overrule a lot of that. So just your intentions of creating that and you doing it, you're going to show God, you can show the universe, hey, I'm serious. I'm going to get well, and I'm going to affect my household, in my neighborhood, in my community. So that being said, you have a space that you feel comfortable connected and you can discharge dense or chaotic energies so you can start to heal, and a place where you can know that you're connected to a higher self. So
And
now,
also, this can spread to the rest of your house. Like
yeah,
you want to have clean water. You want a water purification system for your house, not just for this room, but for your all your meals and everything. An air filter to clean up all the crap in the air. So things like that are going to expand to the whole house eventually, so that
exactly.
everybody benefits.
So this is creating a connection, and you're getting a little psychic help by, I believe, by doing this. So just by starting that and putting that intention, and when you go into your space, you have to kind of honor it like it's a special place. Like when you go into a martial arts studio, you bow, you show respect. You take a moment to just realize that you are with everything and you do that little bow, thank you, I am here at this level. Same thing into your space, some kind of a little recognition, like you can just put your hands together and take a deep breath or two. You can ring a little bell. You can
Show
just be
reverence.
mindful. be, just have some reverence. Put your hands over your heart. Think about something and then step into it. It could be just be momentarily, like a little bell, ding. You're just kind of like, Pavlovian. I am now in my healing sanctuary. So that's going to connect you with that space. Once you're there, now we can start again stacking more modalities. But here, it's like if you have a headache, you can go there and lie down. If you've got, sore low back muscles or an injured shoulder or knee or something, or you're coughing and respiratory system, you can go do some hot and cold. You can go do a hot water bottle over your sore period cramps or your low back. You can do alternating hot and cold on that knee or that shoulder. You can get a little massager, a hand massager, and work on some of your own muscles. Some of those easy things, liniment, rub some things, get in some essential oils. You can have a diffuser. You can have some nice smells. You can have a little salt lamp to create that atmosphere. And then you can start doing more powerful modalities. You can have a grounding pad where you can sit on, and the idea of grounding or earthing, it's called, and there's a great website called earthing.com, talks all about it. But you're basically bringing the power of the earth, the ground, the charge into your house. It'd be nice to stand on, bare feet on the earth, and we do that as much as possible. But when you can't, you can get a grounding pad, and it's got a little wire that's connected into the ground. So if you look at your electrical plug, it looks,
Ground on the receptacles,
yeah,
electrical receptacles.
the top two, you got the eyes and then the mouth. The eye part is the electrical part that we put plugs in, but the one underneath it is the ground, and that won't shock you. That is
That's
connected.
connected through the breaker panel to a ground rod outside under the power meter. It goes 8 feet into the ground. And then electrons from the earth flow into that and that is connected to every receptacle. So when you plug into that, touch your body to it, you're flowing electrons from the earth into your body. That's our charger for our batteries. Every cell in our body is a little battery. It's like a battery in your car, has water and electrolytes, but you got to give it a charge to hold. And the way we do that is by being in touch with the earth. We used to always be in touch with the earth. We slept on the ground. We were always connected. And now we wear insulators on our feet called shoes. Our beds and our homes are insulated from the earth, and we're literally out of touch with the earth. So when you ground yourself, you're flowing electrons in, charging your batteries. You can do this in your bed. We spend a third of our life in bed. And when you're on a grounding sheet or grounding pad for a third of your life, you're keeping your batteries charged up and your body does much better.
Yeah. So having that is again free energy, and it's easy to do because you could just sit on it, or you can get a strap that you can put around your wrist or your ankle, and you're just flowing in free energy. You don't have to swallow a pill. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go get a therapy. You can just sit on that. So that is one thing to start with. And the next one that we would like to talk about is the lighting. We are meant to have sunlight. We're meant to have sunlight through the day and through the year. And it's so important that we get sunlight in our eyes and on our skin as much as possible. It's been demonized, but it is the source of life in our universe. If we didn't have the sun, we wouldn't be here. The sun is
We
not bad.
used we used to live with the sun. We got up with the sun and we went to sleep shortly after the sun set. We'd look at campfire for a while at night. We did that for thousands of years. And people don't realize that the sun changes temperature, color temperature through the day from sunrise to sunset. Sunrise, it's 1600 degrees Kelvin. At midday, at high noon, it's 5750 degrees Kelvin. And at sunset, it's 16,000 degrees Kelvin. So it's constantly changing color. And that we have a mechanism in our brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, SCN. The SCN monitors the color of the sunlight, and that tells our body what time it is because the sun changes through the day. So that is our body's clock. And what we spend 97% of our time indoors now. under artificial light. See, they made LED lights to be the same color temperature as the sun at high noon, 5,750 degrees Kelvin. And so when you're looking at an LED light or a TV, LED TV, or your device, your phone, tablet, whatever at night after sunset, you're telling your body because of the color of that LED, the color of the light, you're telling your brain that it's midday, it's high noon. Your brain's, if you do this, like watch TV before bed or look at your device or something, you're telling your body it's midday, and then you're trying to go to sleep. Your brain's saying, "What do you mean go to sleep? It's midday." So you don't sleep very well. So we have to do we call sleep foreplay. You have to get the body ready to sleep because it takes 4 hours of darkness before melatonin is released from the pineal gland to give you a real healing, deep REM sleep where you have autophagy happening. Otherwise, you're going to have a fitful, restless sleep all night long. You're not going to get into that deep, restful, rejuvenating sleep. And that's what most people are experiencing now because they got LED lights. They get up to pee at night and they turn on the bathroom LED light. They're back to midday again. Or they look at their device while they're up peeing or whatever. The color of that puts you back into that. Now it's going to be at least 4 hours of darkness before melatonin is produced again. By then it's probably morning and you're not going to be able to get into that sleep again. So it's important that you understand all this.
Yeah. Putting
The
in some discipline in these cycles too.
Right, so these LED lights, fluorescent lights, halogen lights, they're all putting out blue light, red and orange and yellow, but also blue and green. And blue light doesn't exist in nature without red also being there to balance it. Because there's blue light in the sun, but the sun is 42% infrared. So when we do an LED bulb indoors, um, you're not getting the infrared because the glazing in your windows blocks most of the infrared, all of the ultraviolet. Glasses, contact lenses, they block. Even lens replacements that they do for people, those those replaced lenses block all the ultraviolet, which we need to be healthy. So people have no idea about this. Doctors don't have any idea about this. Um, so
That's
that's
so important. And if you have any of these compromises, if you are compromised in this area, that's why creating your home healing sanctuary and in putting these things, these healthy hacks are so important for you. If you have a lens transplant, you're not able to get that light now forever into your eyes. You have to get it more into your skin. But we can do that. So it's important to realize that there is a problem and that we can do something about it. So having a device now where you can get light over your whole body. There's many forms of infrared light. We started out with the TheraBulb, which was like a big red light bulb that did red and various uh,
near infrared.
indicators of that lighting. Now there's really sophisticated panels that have different ranges of lights. And I will do another podcast on that in specifics, but basically we want one that has the red and infrared, near infrared for this situation. So when you're in your healing space, the more skin that you can have exposed, the better. So if you again have to use your at your own discretion. If it's cold and there's not a lot of heat, you can be freezing. It's not maybe the best time to do that treatment, but you have to use discretion. Anyway, you can have these, and there's also light panels that you can put directly on your body. So you can place one over your abdomen. You can put one over your sore shoulder. There's many, many combinations and forms of this technology. So you are now in your healing space. You're grounded, you have light therapy. So those are going to give you, now we have the interaction. So it's exponential. So now we have three different things, but the effects that you get will be more beneficial because you're putting more together.
Synergistic effect, where
Synergistic effects,
where
exactly.
the total effect is greater than the sum of the parts.
Exactly. So just a few things that light does. I mean, it supports deep tissue repair and definitely supports circulation. microcirculation. It assists the cellular energy with energy production in all your cells, especially, you're up regulating your mitochondria while you're doing this. You're soothing muscles and joints and connective tissue. It's anti-aging because it promotes collagen synthesis, wound healing, skin health. It's
Increases
warming.
circulation.
Yeah, it increases circulation and it reduces inflammation in a non-invasive way.
Now,
Very, very
if you
important.
get a light that will produce 660 nanometers, that's the frequency that activates methylene blue also. So you take methylene blue and then
Under
you
the red light,
wander the red light, get 660, and then you're going to activate the mitochondria even more.
right?
Every physiologic process in the body is dependent on mitochondrial function. So when you upregulate the mitochondria, however you do it, grounding, infrared light, frequencies on the sound table, hydrogen gas, they all upregulate the mitochondria. So you're going to increase the function of every system in the body.
Uh, So the next phase of that would be to introduce the technology that we're working with, that we've pioneered in our practice, is the Tuberose sound healing table and recliner, where we have transducers fitted into the recliner or into the massage table that we're using, and they use sound to resonate, to vibrate the table, and you laying on it, your body has those sound, at that certain vibrational resonance. It imparts that right into your body. So you feel those lower tones, and then you have headphones to get more of the higher frequencies. So you get this whole sound. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that and introduce our technology with that. Tell people about that.
Right. So the sound is coupled to the body through skin conduction, bone conduction, as well as neural conduction through the ears. So there's vibroacoustic therapy and there's neuroacoustic therapy. So the table, the lower frequencies, is produces the vibroacoustic effect, and that triggers skin receptors, Pacinian corpuscles, and mechanoreceptors in the body that um, transfer signals through the fascia, through the extracellular fluid and around all the cells, through the acupuncture meridian system, through the bones. There's several pathways, but the sound eventually travels through uh, the integrins that go through the cell membranes, through into the nucleus of the cell, and activates every part of the body. And then the sound travels 5 times faster through water than it does through air. And we're basically a big bag of water. So the sound just travels everywhere immediately through the body. And it has um, rebuilding, restructuring, normalizing effects. So it normalizes the regulation of the body that gets distorted by influence from environmental influences, like we discussed earlier. So um, that makes a huge difference when you can work with these systems like that. So the sound can also destroy pathogens. It can destroy cancer cells and um, harmful, unwanted cells in the body.
So we can use frequencies to jumpstart healing on a lot of levels. And when we mean frequencies, there's a couple different things. The one thing is there is a specific single tones for certain conditions, like ridding parasites or balancing blood sugar, or for heart ischemia or toothache, sinus infection, lots of different specific things. Or they're also embedded in music for meditation, sleep, on restoring deep sleep function, like say 528, which is love, green, the heart healing, DNA repair. So your body can then really absorb an envelope of sound, many, many levels to work on the nervous system, to work with the heart and brain, through these benign sound frequencies, I think.
Let me show you. you can see this in the screen share. This is the software that comes with the sound tables and the recliner, and we have a pet med bed also that has this software. And there's several tabs along the top. These are different uh,
Oh,
programs within this. So it defaults to, it's called Power Rife. And these are all symptoms, alphabetized. There's over 2,500 different frequencies. These are all different frequency sets for different um, conditions. So you can see all the different conditions that are addressed with this. And then when you click on one of these and you give it a time, then these are all the frequencies that are related to that frequency set.
conditions. Mhm.
And then we can play those. We can send them, like if I send this to manual, we go to that tab. Now we got all these different waveforms to work with. We got scalar waves, we got the Rife wave, sine wave, square wave, triangle. They all have different harmonics and set your level. And then you give it a time and you start. And you can record also. Once you find something for somebody, then you can save that and just call it up next time it's already ready to go. Or you can email it to them or put it on their device and they can treat themselves if they've got a
So you have it in your own
error.
folder. Yeah. You could
Yeah.
stack things in your folder. You'd have stuff for your husband's folder, some for your children, or everybody can have their own situations that they're
Right.
working on.
Then
And it,
there's the binaural beat. It's called trilateral balance sine wave. These are presets. This creates, use the headphones for neuroacoustic effect, which works with the autonomic nervous system in the body's nervous system as a whole. So you put different frequencies in each ear, and the difference between those frequencies creates a beat frequency, which entrains our brain waves into more beneficial brainwave patterns. So this is really cool. It takes about 20, 30, well, actually 13 minutes for the brain to totally sync up and track with this, but very powerful. People get a lot of wins using this. And then there's, again, all these presets that you can use, and you can even make your own um, presets. So that's another tab.
really powerful.
Yeah. So the most important tab on here is the help tab or the instruction tab, which
But you mentioned
tells
that.
you about every part of this. Pardon?
Right. You mentioned the you're saying in the other area you can also work with chakras, um, clearing energies. You can do that, like Bobby mentioned, the binaural beat for increasing brain function, working with learning disabilities, working with phobias and fears. There's a lot of those types of things in addition to the physical problems that you were seeing in there. It's a very powerful program that can be coupled again with what we do, we have it with the sound recliner or with the sound table. Difference is we started with the table because that's just what we do and it's more of a clinical, although people have it in their homes and people have both. More of the layperson might, or for their home use, might want the recliner because it can fit in your bedroom, in your living room, be part of the furniture, and you can just have your um, a little laptop there with the computer, and you can just put it right on right when you need it. So we try to make it really user friendly and putting everybody's waiting and putting this idea out for this crazy med bed stuff that looks really too futuristic and too technology, too techy for me. I'm open to a lot of ideas, but not waiting. There's a lot of technology now that we can utilize to heal. And this is what we're starting to do by putting all this together in our package. So you're getting grounding, light, and then the frequencies, and then all the other modalities that you'll start to put in,
Let
just
me
as you
just
start
finish
thinking about it.
this,
Please.
talk about the diagnostic tab.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is Rife AI, it's called. And what you do is you put in symptoms. You put all the symptoms. The more accurate your symptoms are, the better results you get. And then you hit diagnose, and it'll come up with uh, different causes of those symptoms, potential causes, as well as parasites that could cause those symptoms. And then gives you frequencies to treat all of those symptoms. And then you can treat right from there, or you can send it to the manual, right? For, and then just treat. And then again, you can save that as a preset, and you can call it back up next time, or send it with the person, email it to them, whatever. It's very versatile. So this software comes with the sound table and a recliner. So very effective and very intuitive, easy to use.
So, I think there's anything else we want to talk with you about. Basically just bringing it all home, creating the thought of I can go here to heal. I can work on many levels. I don't have to go always to some other person or some other place. The healing is within, it's within all of us. And I think now, with so much more information coming out, we can realize that we are masters of our own destiny, that we don't just get sick suddenly, that we create those and we can uncreate those conditions and we can get to the bottom of things. If we're getting tripped up on some sort of emotional thing, that's causing a physical thing. We have the tools to get through that. And a lot of this we can do at home. And I believe soon we'll also be able to start using, there's going to be so many new things coming out about how to heal ourselves. And this is just the beginning of it. We deserve to be healthy. We deserve to be healed and whole. And why not? We can start right now.
And then you're going to avoid, if you go out to some clinic somewhere or to your doctor's office, chances are really high they're going to have a phone in their pocket. They're going to have junk lighting in their clinic. They're going to have Wi-Fi, telemetry, all kinds of obnoxious uh, influences that are going to affect your overall health, as well as the testing and things that they're going to do in that clinic. So just like junk lighting alone, when you analyze blood, blood is sensitive to light. And if you draw the blood in a blue lit environment and analyze it in that kind of environment, you're going to get skewed results. And then the people that work there are going to be affected by all that, as well as the patients there. So our clinic, we have no Wi-Fi, no junk lighting. Um, it makes a huge difference. People notice it as soon as they come in. It's like calm. And then we ask them to put their phones on airplane mode. See, people don't realize when you put your phone on airplane mode, you turn off the microwave transmission. Otherwise, that phone, whether you're talking on it or not, is trying to talk to a tower and get the best signal. It's always broadcasting, always transmitting. And if you got that in your pocket, it's going to be slamming your testicles, your prostate, your uterus and ovaries, your bone marrow and your femur. That's where you make your red and white blood cells, right? The flora in your gut and your intestines is being irradiated with the microwaves from that cell phone. People get hip replacements where they carry their phones, right? It's like they get acoustic neuromas and temporal lobe tumors and where they hold their phone to their brain. So we got to stop doing that, and we got to learn the truth. If you read the book that comes with your cell phone, it says do not touch it to your head. Keep it at least an inch away, because it's an inverse square law, the effect. So the effect varies inversely with the square of the distance you move away from the source. So you move it a little bit, it's an exponential drop off. It's, but you're still, our bodies are so sensitive to these frequencies. Your body's like a high gain antenna. And so even picking up your neighbor's Wi-Fi and stuff is still going to affect you, not like having it in your own home because of the proximity, but you got ideally get rid of all this stuff as much as we can because we still have the cell towers, we got satellites beaming down microwaves at us, um, all the wireless stuff. So the more you can minimize it, um, the the more energy your body's going to have to heal and rejuvenate. So
And
it's
there's a lot of technologies coming out that claim to stop these frequencies. I like the word harmonize better, but there's no testing. It's hard to test that. I mean, people are trying to test it. They're trying to evaluate it with muscle testing, manual muscle testing, Kirlian photography. I mean, we're talking about a different realm and we're not, it's hard to test. It's hard to show exactly. My BS meter goes off all the time when people bring in a lot of these things, and it's just, you may test strong a moment, but it's not going to be good like long term. It's like I can test you, it's you're not in a good mood, and I can smile and be able to test you, and you look at me and you get strong. But a moment later, you're going to be weak again. It didn't fix that situation. So a lot of times it doesn't do it in my opinion. So
some things will negate the weakening effect and it'll make you strong, but it's not protecting your cell
lasting
membranes and things that are being adversely affected by these frequencies.
constantly.
Right.
Yeah.
So better yet, just turn it off. Put on
I
a
think minimizing it at the moment until we, can maybe move along and have some way to validate and quantify it. I don't know. I guess if you have something and it's beaming at two plants, one plant is getting it, one isn't, you might be able to see. I don't know. There's like other ways that we can try to evaluate because it's something that's like over time. You got to see is this going to be continuing to affect you one way or the other?
right.
So again, but I agree that the best thing is to minimize your exposure. It's just like we're facing something like nuclear radiation again. When we started to understand what that was all about, seeing the effects of it was how we really understood what was going on because it's invisible. And right now we can't measure, we can't measure this stuff to see it. So that's what's happening now with this 5G, Starlink, or cell towers, 6G, more, I mean the electric, the fields, the AC in our wiring in our homes is bad enough. Now we got all this other on top of it.
We're in
So
a radio frequency soup.
minimal is better. It's like the same thing with the wiring in our house. If it's shielded rather than unshielded, it's like we talk about all these types of things that we can minimize exposure to these harmful fields. That's where it's at the moment, in my
And
opinion.
there's things we can do. Say you live in a condo or an apartment building, you got somebody above you, below you, either side, and they've got all this crap. They're radiating into your living space. So you can erect um,
Faraday
shields. You can
shields
do
and
things the ground and protect the stuff coming from them into your space. It gets grounded before it gets to you. But people don't know about that. And
the EMF shielding. There's
sure.
different companies that make paint, fabric, curtains, um, different things that actually shield your room. So you could put something around
Bedding to protect
your
you while you're
room.
sleeping at night.
Yeah.
Right.
So there are ways to actually do this. So we'll talk about more in future podcasts. So do you have anything else you want to talk about with this today, or we wrap it up
No, we
with?
just wanted to plant the seed with you on the home healing sanctuary and encourage you to think about your home and where could you create a sanctuary for your healing and learn to do things at home so you don't have to go out into the marketplace and get more compromised. Because you go to get your treatment, say, and you're feeling really good, but then you get back in your car, you put the phone in your pocket, you got Bluetooth in your car, and then all the cars on the road, you're getting all their lidar and their sensors and all that stuff. It's all
Then you
microwaves.
go
It's all
home to your chaotic environment.
right. And so you're back to where you were. And you think, God, I felt good, but now I feel like crap. So if you can treat yourself at home, clean up the home itself so that you don't have all this stuff, then you can get on top of the wave and you can recover faster and everything is just so much better.
And your treatments work better. The money you spend for the treatment and the practitioners that are giving you their skill can work better on you, can take effect more and not be undone so quickly.
Right.
All these treatments that you're getting done are kind of like filling up your little battery. You're filling up your battery so you can your health battery. And then all these other things that we were talking about drain your battery, and we want to fill it up and keep it filled faster than it drains. So if you can keep it filled up at home, you keep your body charged up in many ways in your house, then your level of
Functioning.
functioning is going to be much better, more higher.
So if you want to get more information, you can visit our websites. We have two. We have the um, general information for
Information.
health. It's tuberose.healing.online. It's tuberose, Tuberose, healing.online. And the website for our sound healing, for our sound chairs and tables and pet med bed things, is tuberose sound tables, that's plural, .com, tuberosesoundtables.com. So visit that and get more information and contact us if you got any questions. Um, we'd love to get feedback from you. So thank you all for getting on the call, and we'll be here next week. Hope to
Thanks
see
for
you then.
watching. Bye for now.
Keep the light shining.